Right, we've got one more thing that we need to do here before we plot our graph. Um, it's best to have everything in SI units when you do the graph. So time here is in seconds, that's all good. Mass here is in grams. Grams is not a SI unit. Kilograms is the SI unit for mass. So um, what we can do is we can put in another column. So I'm going to click on this column here, right click, insert. I'm going to give it, put in another column, and we're going to call this mass kilograms. Right, how do we go from 50 grams to kilograms? Well, we've got to divide by 1,000. So we're going to do another formula. We're going to click on the cell, hit equals. We're going to take this number and then divide by 1,000. 0.05, and we're going to copy that down to every square. And now we're ready to graph. Right, so we're going to want to graph this column here and this column, mass and time. The one on the left is going to become the x-axis, and the one on the right is going to become the y-axis. So let's select mass here. I'm going to drag on that, and then I also want to drag this one. If I just start clicking on this one, then I lose this one here. So if I want to get both columns, I've got to hold control down. So I'm holding control now, and then I drag on this column as well. So I've got two columns selected. You can also include the title. So if I drag and include the title here, it's going to put the title into the axis, and then insert. Then I'm going to go to charts, the scatter option, and then I'm just going to use this first one here with no lines. We're going to put in our own lines. And it's also good to give that graph its own page. So if you right click in a blank space and click move chart, and you can click new sheet and call it whatever you want. It's going to give it its own tab, give it its own page. And always good just to double check numbers. So make sure that, so I said that this axis was going to be mass. Make sure that those numbers look correct. So 0.05, that is the same as 50 grams. 0.1, it was the same as 100 grams. 150, so that's correct. Those times look correct as well. I am going to give it some axis titles. So right click in the top right hand corner, click axis titles. This one is period, symbol T, unit S. X-axis is going to be mass, what type word mass, symbol M, brackets, kilograms. Put a title. Let's call it period versus mass for a spring. And we're going to want to give this one a curve. So to get the relationship, I'm going to right click on one of these dots here. I'm going to go add trend line. So once we've selected trend line, first trend that it gives you is a straight line one. Well, it's not a straight line relationship. What we're going to want is power relationship. So click on power, and then go down to display equation on chart. I'm also going to select the R squared value on the chart as well. That's something we can talk about a little bit later. That's really tiny, so I'm going to drag on that. I'm going to increase the font size. And oops, just going to drag it over there. Right, so here's our formula in terms of y and x. Now we need to give a formula which is in terms of period t and mass m. So I'm going to drag over that formula. I'm going to copy, and I am just going to go a couple of lines down and paste it. Oops, it's gone tiny again. And I'm going to change this formula up a bit, right? So y represents whatever variable is on the y-axis. So y here represents t. So I'm going to replace the y with a t. The x represents whatever's on the x-axis. So that's mass m. That is m to the power of 0.4805. That number there, you'll note, is very close to a half. And in fact, that's what it should be if my experiment was a perfect experiment with no error in it. I would have got 0.5 as exactly 0.5 as the power. Because of error, all our numbers are going to be slightly off. But I know that it is going to be to the power of 0.5. And m to the power of 0.5 is actually the same thing as the square root of m. So I can call this m to the power of 0.5. I could also, or even better still, would be to call it square root of m. And I could do that by going insert square root mass. And since I've been working to 3 significant figures, I'm going to keep my equation, the gradient of my equation here, also is 3 significant figures. Another thing we can write is we can just put that into a word relationship. As a sentence, we would say period is proportional to square root mass